Do you know what the young people of today need? Hope? A war. That would put things in perspective. In what way? It's hard to care about pronouns when you're under machine gun fire. Right. No one's worried about their carbon footprint with a bayonet in the face. Okay. And who gives a damn about house prices when you're being bombed? Which, to be fair, would reduce the supply of property even further. Well, yes, of course, war is worse than pretty much any alternative, but I don't really understand. The youth of today think they're never going to be asked to fight for their lives in a global conflict, so they've become complacent. They're getting hot and bothered about silly little things like structural inequality or minority rights or the future of the planet. Exactly. We never worried about that kind of stuff when I was growing up. Maybe if you had worried more about it, they wouldn't have to. Maybe if they'd been in a war, they'd have their priorities straight. You keep saying this, but you weren't in a war, were you? I'm sorry. You're saying that young people need the experience of war to make them, stronger? But you never had that experience. Okay, granted, I didn't actually fight in the Second World War, but I've watched a lot of documentaries about it, so in a way I feel like I did. That's not really the same. And may I remind you of a little thing called the Cold War. Did you fight in that? I read a lot of Le Carre, right? And we had the war on drugs, the war on terror. Not quite the same thing. I had to take my shoes off at the airport and find a better place to hide my cocaine. The war on Christmas? That's not a real thing. And yet you look round a playground in November and there's not a poppy in sight. I thought the whole point of remembrance was that those people made sacrifices so that future generations wouldn't have to. Lest we forget. Exactly. But it seems like we have forgotten. Those brave men didn't die so people in dreadlocks could criticise Churchill. I mean, they kind of didn't they? I'd like to see them criticise Chairman Mao in Tiananmen Square. They'd be shot. That would teach them a lesson. What lesson? We should never have stopped hitting our kids. Young people might look at you and say that your generation benefited from affordable housing, final salary pensions, free education, strong unions, and a popular culture that wasn't dominated by corporate interests mainly pandering to their parents' nostalgia. What's your response to that? Well, we didn't have iPhones or free porn, and they don't have to pay alimony, so they should count themselves lucky. I think we'll leave it there. Next up, as Team GB struggles to win any medals at the Winter Olympics, we ask, is it time to admit that a country that can't run trains in the wrong type of snow is unlikely to be great at the bobsleigh?